My biggest hope for Pantheon's early access phase, the upcoming classically inspired PvE MMO from Visionary Realms, is that it's not actually noticed all that much. Redbeard, what the fuck are you talking about? Do you want it to fail? It's actually quite the opposite. I think that it needs to be that way. So let's talk about it. Pantheon Rise of the Fallen will be going into early access in December of 2024, with 6 zones, 6 playable races, 12 classes, and content through level 40. The game will be incomplete, it'll be buggy, and there will likely be wipes. It is not soft launching. Pantheon is trying to do what BG3 did in 2020. Launch into an under-the-radar early access phase that allows for more direct player-to-developer feedback as the game progresses with update after update. It's hard to remember now with the incredible success of BG3 after its 2023 launch, but back in October of 2023, when it went into early access about 3 years before it launched, it peaked at only 48,000 players. That peak would become anemic over the next few years, with lows around 2,000 in the month that followed, only to explode to a peak of 875,000 players in August of 2023. That is what I want for Pantheon. Not the numbers, because I think that's a bit unrealistic, but at the very least, that kind of under the radar, slow burn type of development phase. Treating this as a larger, broader phase that brings in more players and allows more players to get together, because the current phases of testing kind of split players up too much. I want that to be there, but not anywhere near, say, like a New World launch, which is kind of the inverse of what happened to Baldur's Gate 3. All of this which leads into my next hope, and that's the player base for Pantheon expands. I hope that this game will thrive on multiple avenues, not just any one single selling point. Using EverQuest and Vanguard as a guide, it wasn't always a rush to endgame. There was room for lore, crafting, grouping, slow leveling, and so much more. I hope to see casual and hardcore players alike in early access, those who are pushing content and those who are taking it slowly. I hope that once we have a greater ease of access to the game and it can be explored in its fullness as a world, not just a game, which was so key to the early MMOs. A living, breathing world, as EverQuest used to say. A thriving player base of varied playstyles, not just hardcore. One of the keys to this is going to be the implementation of the Pulse system, which is slated to at least be in part for early access. The players who take 2 years to get to max level in this game are going to be just as important as the players who take 2 weeks. I really hope that with greater expansion of who can play Pantheon full time, we get a broad group of players the likes of which existed in games like EverQuest, Vanguard, Star Wars Galaxies, Ultima Online, and more. We need the hardcore players. We need the casual. We need the role player, the auctioneer, the crafters. We need everybody, because an MMO is difficult to make in part because it has so many moving pieces that appeal to so many different types of players. And to that end, I have another hope. I am hopeful that the current existing community within Pantheon is welcoming. Kindness can go a very long way, and I really hope that just as a community of players that want to play this game or have been playing this game, we are welcoming to these people that are going to be coming in and trying it for the very first time. To show that, yes, a game like this, a game that is social, can exist in the MMO space in 2024. A time when the MMO space has increasingly been isolating in its multiplayer aspects, putting up walls between players with content gating, forced solo questing, only to briefly let the walls down with complete strangers in high-stress situations like, say, a Mythic Plus. Let us use this early access phase to welcome players into a new type of MMO that feels a hell of a lot like an old type of MMO. Because if there's anything that's been made crystal clear over the last decade of MMOs, big companies aren't investing in this type of MMO, if they are investing in MMOs at all. Now, of course, these are just my hopes, and you might have noticed that a lot of them are kind of out of VR's hand, or at least mostly out of VR's hand. For the first point, they can limit the marketing, and I think they really should limit the marketing. There's no point in trying to attract more players to a game that isn't ready for more players just because it's now available. Let players find your game. Allow for organic marketing, word of mouth marketing. Don't go out and spend shit tons of money on things to try and get people to play. Just let it grow. If there's a model to look to, maybe it really is the Baldur's Gate 3 model. But honestly, that might just be me wanting more panel from hell type things with marketing. Where, you know what, we could probably get like Chris Perkins all dressed up in some armor, right? And you know, Bronson can cosplay as a ratkin or something like that. I think we can make this work. But those kind of community-based marketing things versus the more over-the-top marketing, bidding splash ads everywhere, or even Twitch drops. That doesn't necessarily need to happen at this phase of launch. Let the game grow organically. When you remove the barriers, you let people that are interested go and try it. When you market it, you open up the potential audience, but some of that audience may not be the people that actually want to play that game in the first place. But there are two major things that I think VR can do that may seem small, but I think are very, very important. So I really hope that they put a lot of time and effort into them. First is simple. Shout from the damn rooftops that this is not a head start. This is an early access testing phase. This is Baldur's Gate 3 development, not some bullshit paid pre-access. Be genuine and honest. Say it up front. Hell, have the face of this game come out in a short or something and say up front, if you don't want to play a testing phase of this game, don't buy early access. I think being genuine and honest and not seemingly begging for people to buy is a much better way to go about this than, you know, actually trying to push people into buying early access. Make sure it's clear in every way you can. Add splash pages everywhere. Add things that you're saying that it's early access, it's testing phases. There might be wipes over and over and over again. Drill it into people's heads that this is a testing phase. It is not a head start to a full MMO. Be clear and upfront and leave no doubt. And there's one other thing that you can do to assist with that. The second thing. Make feedback easy to give in-game. It is of course very easy and attractive to rely on external tools like Discord, email, and forums, but having a way to give feedback in-game and even prompting for feedback will be essential for broader access with players who may not be willing to join a Discord or post on forums, but still have valuable contributions. Add feedback and bug reporting in-game as soon as possible. So now that we've gone over the hopes, just in case you didn't come here from the concerns video, you can go find out the things that I'm worried about with Pantheon's early access right here. My name is Trevor Flynn, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in-game soon.